Hey YouTube, today I wanted to showcase my Temporalis Blink Spark Witch, which can also be created in Sorcerers if you wanted to, but the BLOODWITCH is just so much better, there is no need to go anything else in my opinion. Now, as you can imagine, this build surely isn't cheap, as we're using Temporalis and a lot of other uniques, such as Headhunter, which is also very expensive, but the other uniques are quite affordable from the very start. So as long as you have the main piece Temporalis and or Headhunter, you can start with the build. Your wand wants to look somewhat like this. It can be all spell skills, which furthermore pushes your blink cooldown, but you sacrifice some damage. And ideally at the end, we want to have a +5 lightning 3 socket one with 3 more skills from our runes. But that is very expensive and for very later, so I just wanted to mention the high end here. Your focus wants to look somewhat like this. You can get more damage instead of my energy shield. I just chose my energy shield because I wanted to get some defense. And as you can already see, we're pushing cooldown reduction. This is a very essential part of the build. The more, the better. We will blink faster and we will trigger more lightning bolts. More about the lightning bolt mechanic later. We just continue with the gear for now. As for now, the build will evolve around Maligaros since our ascendancies are still broken. Meaning the ascendancy that gives us crit per life does not really work and therefore we ignore it for now and just get our crit from this. But again, this build is very fluent. It will change a lot. This is just how it is right now for me. And there's other builds out there that are similar. I've seen some. They are even faster than me already. They have way more cooldown reduction. I think the fastest I saw had 250 milliseconds, so that's 4 blinks per second. You can imagine how fast that goes. All the info I have on those I will put in the description. I think that's only fair for the guys. Some of them came into my stream and actually helped me a little bit. We are pretty short on rest, so we try to fix it with our ring. We can also gain some extra lightning damage, which helps. Evasion is important for this build, since we actually utilize evasion via Subterfuge Mask and some other nodes, but more about that later. Since this season we can also gain cooldown reduction via desecration, which helps a lot. On my ring right here I'm gonna remove the Cold Wars anytime soon and attempt to get cast speed, because for some reason, I can't really explain why, cast speed also affects cooldowns. At least some of them. And ideally we wanna have Calander's Touch, just to mirror the ring we already have. Let's go over some mechanics here. So, Jaw Storm. As you can see, it gives us the ability to penetrate lightning resistances, so that doesn't matter to us. Every mob is basically 0 res. And whenever we do crits, we also trigger Lightning Bolt, which is our main DPS source. Now by default, if you open the menu, as you can see, our cooldown is currently 0.22 seconds. The default is 0.5 seconds. I already pushed it quite a bunch because of my passive nodes and whatnot, and my gear. So like again, by default 0.5 seconds, meaning 2 casts per second, which is not a lot. It's still a lot of damage and works early on, but basically nothing to compare to what we gain. So now, if I put on Temporalis, for example, we had 40 milliseconds, which is quite fast as you can imagine. So if we only have Temporalis and Shore, that would go down to 100 milliseconds, meaning 10 casts per second, which is already quite a lot. I have double that, more even, so I do 20 plus bolts a second. Given that we crit all the time, but that's what the whole point of this build is. We want to have high crits. Right now, again, I'm a little bit nerfed because my whole gear isn't on. Again, all our crit damage comes from our gloves. This is set. We can't change this in any way, but we can also bypass penalties, such as pinpoint critical. We gain the crit chance, but we don't get the penalty, which is really nice. And since we do about, right now with the gear that I have here, you see the damage, it's about 44,000 per lightning bolt. It will go up with my buffs and whatnot, about 70,000, 80,000, I would have to check, but it doesn't really matter. Meaning we have a lot of overkill damage. What is overkill damage? Now you can see we do a lot of lightning bolts, like I explained before, and all of those have overkill damage and will then trigger explosions, which is then just spread by Trampletoes. That's basically the short version of all of this. Blink, we just want to push our cooldown reduction. It goes via certain gear pieces. Once again, rings can have that now. We gain that from talismans. The old talisman is very cheap. Don't worry about it. You can buy it. I don't know, they were 10 Exalt or something. They're not expensive at all. Our helmet as well. We use skill effect duration and cooldown recovery rates. That's quite good for us. More cooldown. Skill effect duration goes for Spark. It stays up longer. Very good. And there's some new nodes over here. 21% as well. They're quite nice. It doesn't feel like a lot when you do it only on one of them, but if you combine it with a lot of different sources, it's quite a bunch. I even use this one over here. I know I get a penalty from it, but the cooldown reduction is worth it. Another way to get more cooldown reduction for a quite cheap price is using From Nothing with Crimson Assault. I paid, I believe, I don't even know. If I think it was 30 Exile, it was very cheap. You don't have to worry about it. It should be very cheap still, even when you watch this video. And then we can allocate multitasking, which is another source of cooldown reduction and skill effectuation. And these middle nodes over here also have 5% cooldown reduction each, as another 10. So 22% in total, plus the 15% skill effectuation. We have two nodes over here as well, which are good for evasion, so we take them too. And the rest of the skill tree is basically just damage and evasion / energy shield. But you can check the mobility thing for all of this. Now, depending on your gear, it might differ a little bit. So you wanna just adjust it to your liking. This is just how I do it at the moment. So if you have any gear differences, for example, you don't get any fire damage like I do, then you can't go for Echoing Flames. I don't have that one now either, but next level I will. So that's 30% damage for me. If you don't have that, you don't have to go here, etc., etc. You just make sure you double check if there's anything useless to you. Maybe you have a better sacred focus, better focus than me, with already having 70% crit chance, and you can release some crits, I don't know, maybe over here. So, just adjust it to your liking. Our skill rotation is quite easy. We just blink, spark, everything explodes, repeat. If you feel you're in danger or something, maybe back off. But once you have the headhunter buffs, you can just go crazy. Just really go all the way in there, explode with your spark, and make sure they all die around you. That's all you do. You don't have to worry nothing. Especially not if you have leech from spells like Blood Witches do, which is kinda broken. But I appreciate that I can use it right now. It helps a lot. Makes the build a whole lot easier to build. So Lightning Bolt just gets pinpoint critical, so we get more crits. We take constant credit effect for more damage. Cooldown recovery the 2 for more cooldown recovery, so we get more lightning bolts. Again, the liberation just for the damage. And elemental focus also just for the damage. You can also use lightning mastery if you want to get one more skill, and can still inflict shock, but it doesn't seem to matter too much. Spark as of now gets level 15 for me, because I want to save some mana. If you have more mana than I do, you can go for level 19, 20, whichever. It gives you more projectiles, which is better, but right now I just go with this. We use projectile acceleration 2. We gain some pierce from that, but it doesn't really matter. We just want the projectile speed. Then we take pierce 3 to always pierce, to hit as many targets as possible. We use unleash, because that gives us temporarily more projectiles, given that we blink around and have some time in between. We usually get at least one charge. Again, pinpoint critical for a crit. And Sion's Temper to gain additional projectiles once in a while. It is quite reliable and triggers a lot of extra projectiles for us. We use Arctic Armor, since sometimes you can trip over when you blink. You get hit by something, you fall over, that happens occasionally. So if that happens, Arctic Armor takes over and just make sure that everything around dies you. It will just change just like regular Lightning Bolt. The damage is very high, as you can see. Blink gets cooldown recovery 2, Atred's Augury, and Diala's Desire. All of this will push our cooldown reduction even further, which is very important. I'm on level 30 at the moment. I think I saw somebody having 38. So this is way to go. We can even get more cooldown. At the moment we are sitting at 0.39, which is close to 3 seconds. Not quite, but I'm getting there. But yeah, once again, this is already very fast. Way faster than walking, that's for sure. So that's all that matters to me. Cast on crit I don't really use anymore. Maybe for single target, but I don't really mind not having it. The boss kills take 5 to 10 seconds on average. Elemental weakness for single target as well. Cursed ground, so we have cursed ground on the floor. We don't really have to get out of that. The range of it is quite big. Everything in here will be cursed, so that's good enough. The boss will really not move out of here. We can just fight him in this area. We can also combine this with Vigil of Power. You can ignore Ball Lightning and Lightning Warp. I just use it sometimes to skip certain areas if I can't blink them, but that's not really that important anymore. But if you just started off and your cooldown is not that fast, then you might want to use that technique. And currently I added Eye of Winter just for single target. and we put in deceleration, second wind, pinpoint critical, and multi-shot. I'm not quite sure if this does anything, but this is just to test around at the moment anyways. You don't really have to have this one. Okay, that would be everything so far. If you have any questions, you can ask me in the comment section or on Twitch. Link will be in the description below, as well as the mobility link. Thank you guys for watching, and if you want to see more of this content, subscribe, and I'll see you on the next one. Goodbye.